to get Bryshere, to help her get Bryshere out of California into Chicago State to be ready for filming. She knew he had been, she knew what Will did to him. Now he's saying that Bryshere Gray told him directly that he had been essayed by Will and Diddy. That's what Belial is saying. Tell me something.
Diddy assaulted me, and Charlie Mack made me suck his private part, right? And I'm like, whoa.
Well, who is best to give you advice? And it's Will Smith, and I'm getting so much good advice. I got my first acting role, Empire, and it's changing my life.
West Philadelphia has produced some of the most talented people to ever grace the entertainment industry. And sometimes, that same city watches its sons rise to the very top, only to fall in ways that nobody fully explains. Bryshere Gray, known to many as Hakeem Lyon from the hit show Empire, is one of those stories. At 22, this kid from the streets of West Philly landed one of the biggest roles on primetime television, stood alongside Taraji P, Henson and Terrence Howard, and had the whole world watching. That should have been the beginning of something extraordinary. Instead, what followed was a series of personal crises, legal troubles, and a career that seemed to vanish almost overnight. Now, years later, voices from inside the industry are starting to connect dots that the public never got to see. Katt Williams, a man who built a reputation for saying what others won't, has been raising red flags around how the entertainment machine treats young, vulnerable talent. And when you line up his words alongside what singer Jaguar Wright has been alleging, and what we now know about the people Bryshere was connected to during his rise, the picture that forms is deeply uncomfortable. This story deserves a proper look. Before the cameras, before the fame, Bryshere Gray was just a teenager with a dream and very little else. He grew up in West Philadelphia, the same neighborhood that shaped Will Smith, and he started rapping at 16 while working shifts at a Pizza Hut. That detail alone tells you a lot about where he came from. This was not a kid with industry connections or a family safety net. He was grinding on street corners, performing at local venues, building a following one show at a time under the name Yaz the Greatest.
Man, I wasn't missing this,
right
baby.
there.
I'm focused.
You handsome. He's
focused,
focused.
baby. I'm focused,
You know?
baby.
And that's my young boy. See, this is what I'm saying. This is how we do.
He
He says Uncle Will. He said that's Uncle Will. I know. We need to start right here. This is how we kick this thing off.
I'm focused,
Album.
Yeah. We gonna do it. He said album. See, that's the young boy. See,
Movies.
Next level. The soundtrack.
The soundtrack. Oh man,
You see this little Philly cat. How you feel about?
that's right, West Philly in the building.
How you see a young cat coming up? How you feel about that being okay on the same streets and seeing this guy's career take off?
No, it's just great. I'm watching him. He's with my man Charlie Mack. So Charlie was with me every step of the way. First out the limo. So Charlie has been with me, 30 years coming up in the business. So, he's surrounded by a whole lot of strength. He's surrounded by a whole lot of love, and all he has to do is add discipline, and he's gonna be all right.
Gonna be all right.
Assistance, Bryshere got himself into some serious rooms. He was performing at Jay-Z's Made in America Festival and opening for Fabulous and 2 Chainz before most people his age even had a clear career plan. That hustle caught the attention of Charlie Mack, who became his manager and, crucially, introduced him to Lee Daniels, the co-creator and executive producer of Empire.
R-worded me, or however y'all gotta say it on YouTube. You know that Diddy assaulted me, and Charlie Mack made me suck his private part, right? And I'm like, whoa, this was a full admittance. And he's going, and I'm like, I didn't know anything. He's in the corner, balled up, snot, so much sweating and pain that blood is coming from his nose, right? And this is me and him in a conversation. And he was like, please don't tell him, right? And I never said no, but I know is this guy crazy or what's happening? So I end up telling Charlie Mack, and he said, I'm on my way out there. And then he said, hold on, Will wants to talk to you. So I said, okay, no problem. So now he said Will wanted to talk to him once Charlie Mack got out there. So he wouldn't talk to me when I was on my phone. So whenever I talked to Will about sensitive topics, Charlie would meet up with me, call Will, whatever number he called, then put me on the phone on Charlie's phone, not from my phone, right? So Will admitted to me that he had sex with Bryshere Gray, but it was consensual, right? So I'm like, okay, so now it's starting to make sense, because I would have never believed that the way this guy's acted, something had to happen. So now Will told me, and this is going to be in paperwork and everything, right? So when Will told me that he did have intercourse with Bryshere, he said Bryshere did ask him to stop. Will said he completed the act, then stopped. Right then and there, when a person say stop, that means stop. Period. So I do believe that Will Smith assaulted Bryshere Gray. Period.
I was not expecting any of this.
I know you wasn't, but let me give you one more thing. Let's get into the paperwork. There's paperwork to this. So after all this starts to play, the story's long. You got to get the book. But long story short,
I'm gonna get the book.
Right. But
What followed was the kind of audition story that feels almost too cinematic. Bryshere rapped over FaceTime on an iPhone, was flown to Los Angeles for a second audition with Terrence Howard and Taraji P. Henson, and walked out with the role of Hakeem Lyon.
So funny, like my friend said to me, rappers, they're all so tough until you hear their real name.
Yeah, well, until you see them at a puffy party.
Oh.
Then they're not tough no more. I'm surprised that the rap game is still alive because the masculinity that the rappers are supposed to portray.
What is it with all the man-on-man action that I'm learning about? I mean, like with the puffy parties, like the last thing I ever thought that went on there was gay stuff. Not that gay stuff was wrong, it's wonderful. I just did not think that's what Puffy was doing.
Yeah, well, I didn't think it either. And even when my assistant said that stuff, I still was like joking it off. And it wasn't until later on that I heard other things from people that worked from him. You know, you remember that back in the times of slavery, they had a thing called breaking the buck, where they would take, not to go in a bad place, but this is how I see what's happening, the parallels with what's happening, correlates what's happening in the business. If they, back in the times of slavery, if they had like some 12-year-old slave that was just full of himself and confident and, wasn't listening, they would tie him to a log or a barrel. And a bunch of the overseers would to where when he walked around with the slaves now, he didn't have the confidence.
Sure.
He was broken, and it was called breaking the buck.
Wow.
And that's still taking place. And so to hear that people in the industry are still making young rappers who have fought the worst of circumstances, being disenfranchised, being discounted, and then they finally I'm gonna put it into the music. I'm gonna do it in the music, and I'm gonna, and get myself together. And they go and see someone, and they tell them, okay, yeah, you can have a deal. Perform fellatio on me, and you get your deal. That was what I heard while I was on Empire about some of the people in the business. And P.D. Pablo, you remember P.D. Pablo?
I know who that is.
P.D. Pablo, talented writer, singer. Him and Young Buck wrote a song called Ho Is On. And in that song, back in about 2011 or 29 or something, because he called out all of the homosexuality taking place at those parties and those people, he was kicked out of the music business. No radio station would play his stuff. So you look for P.D. Pablo, he's not around anymore. But that song, Ho It's On, they did not care. They went all in on it.
What is important to understand here is that when Bryshere Gray entered the Empire universe, he was young, hungry, and completely new. to how this industry actually operates. He wanted to be a rapper. Acting was not even on his radar. That kind of vulnerability, that openness, is exactly what the wrong people look for. Empire was a cultural moment when it premiered in 2015. The show pulled some of the highest ratings Fox had seen in years, and Bryshere's portrayal of Hakeem Lyon made him an instant fan favorite. He was signed to Columbia Records as a solo artist, right alongside his castmate Jussie Smollett. Doors were flying open, and opportunities were stacking up. On the surface, this was everything a young man from West Philly could have dreamed of. But Empire's creative world was not exactly a simple, clean environment. Lee Daniels has been a consistently polarizing figure in Hollywood. The show's orbit included some extremely powerful industry names, and for a 20-something kid, without real guidance on how these networks function, stepping into that world without someone truly looking out for you was always going to carry risk. This is where names start coming up. Will Smith, famously also an Overbrook High School graduate from West Philadelphia, has been cited by multiple sources as someone who took an interest in Bryshere during this period. On the surface, that connection makes total sense. A young black talent from the same streets landing his first major role, getting the attention of one of the biggest stars that neighborhood ever produced. It reads like mentorship, but singer and outspoken industry critic Jaguar Wright has, in multiple interviews, alleged that the mentorship framing was the cover, not the reality. It is important to stress that none of her claims have been legally verified or corroborated. Still, her allegations have been consistent and detailed, and that cannot simply be dismissed. If there is one person in entertainment who has spent years saying things that most people were not ready to hear, it is Katt Williams. His January 2024 interview on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay podcast was, by most accounts, one of the most explosive celebrity conversations of that entire year. In that interview, Katt said plainly that he had turned down enormous sums of money multiple times because of what came attached to those deals. He specifically referenced Diddy's party invitations as something he made a point of avoiding.
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
What Katt said was not framed as gossip. He spoke about it as a matter of personal principle and survival. He said he came into the entertainment business intending to expose what he saw, drawing comparisons to how he was treated when he spoke up about Michael Jackson and R. Kelly years earlier, when the industry penalized him for it. Katt described a Hollywood where the line is not drawn along race, fame, or genre. He said the line is drawn between those who are willing to compromise themselves and those who are not. When Williams talks about what happens to young talent who enter these circles without protection, and then you look at what happened to Bryshere Gray, the contrast is striking. Williams, by his own account, had the awareness and the resolve to say no. Bryshere was a 22-year-old kid from a working-class background with no such blueprint. Williams has suggested in various interviews and commentary pieces that the industry has a pattern of identifying exactly that kind of person.
What would it take for Jay-Z to go down like Diddy did?
I don't know. But I got an idea that Evan Rogers is going to help me figure that out.
And who is Evan?
Evan was the producer who only seemed to work on teeny bopper projects, who discovered Rihanna at 3 a.m. in the morning in a hotel room on the island where she comes from, with no parental supervision. And then she was put on a private plane, a minor, from one country to another, without parental supervision. And she ended up in a boardroom with Mr. Carter, without parental supervision. Y'all got young children. Would you just let your daughter leave and go to a whole other country with some Oh no.
absolutely not.
Doing talent shows at 3 a.m.
So you're saying that the rumors are true. There are rumors circulating that Rihanna was actually trafficked here. Are you saying that
Starting to
that's...
sound that way. Because her daddy didn't show up till 24 hours later to pick up a $500,000 check for his daughter's ass. Maybe we should look more into that album, Auntie. That album cover was disturbing. A child bride with a crown over her head and blood smeared on her face. I don't know. How don't people see SOSs anymore? I mean, maybe I'm just crazy.
Jaguar Wright has been one of the most persistent voices, raising questions about the treatment of young talent in the entertainment industry. Long before Diddy's legal case became front-page news, Wright was giving interviews describing a culture of coercion and manipulation at the highest levels of the music and entertainment world. Her specific claims about Bryshere Gray began circulating seriously in late 2023 and intensified after Diddy's arrest in September 2024.
Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, I'll Be Sure, Heavy D, and Puffy. And Kim was the longest working employee because she was there from the very beginning. She was Andre's personal assistant. Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Heavy D was found dead, face down in the heart attack. Andre Harrell, heart attack. Kim died from pneumonia, but there's the first coroner's report that said that she died. It was ruled a homicide, and they found toxins in her body to prove that she had been poisoned. You know, they have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms. And then right after that, Al had a meeting, and I was gonna meet up with him because we were in Vegas, and then the next thing you know, you wanna know what they all had in common though? The survivors and the late of Uptown Records, they were all writing tell-all books. Andre was writing a book right before he died. Heavy D was working on a book before he died. Kim Porter was working on a book before she died. And I'll Be Sure was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma. Has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? He must be the luckiest mother. It seems like everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning is gone. Just him.
In a September 2024 interview with Real Life Productions, Wright was visibly emotional when she spoke about Bryshere's situation. She alleged that his downfall was not accidental and that it was connected to his exposure to Diddy and Will Smith during his years of rising fame. She also alleged that Jada Pinkett Smith played a role in facilitating the social circles where this kind of exploitation allegedly took place. These are serious claims, and it must be said clearly that none of them have been legally corroborated. Diddy has pleaded not guilty to all charges, and nothing linking Will Smith or Jada Pinkett Smith to any criminal conduct has been established in any court of law.
Tell me the story about how Puffy wanted to fight Will Smith over Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, man. We were at a birthday party that I think either Matt Damien was giving for Ben Affleck. It was just a little gathering. It was at the Four Seasons. Will Smith and his sister and her husband, we were all sitting on this side of the room. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez, Puff, Will Smith, and Jada, and it was sitting on the other side of the room. So I know Puff so well that he stood up. When he stood up, he walked and did his arm some kind of way, like, and then he went like this, you know, like that. I went over towards him. I know to go over there towards him. So I go over towards him, and he said to me, he said, yo, I think Will and Jada is trying to scoop up Jennifer. I want you to stay close, because I'm going to snuff him. I said to myself, Will Smith gonna beat the shit out. Now, Puff could scrap now, but I don't think he could beat Will Smith. You know what I'm saying? But he could scrap. You know what I'm saying? So then he said that shit. So I didn't go back over there where Will Smith's sister and her husband was. I stayed about, if he snuffed Will, I could move slow enough that Will could probably get 2 or 3 punches back in. Yeah, but that funny. He thought that Jada and Will was coming on too strong to Jennifer, making advances.
Like what Gene mentioned, what Jaguar's accounts do is introduce a framework where mentorship and industry access are used as currency, where young talent from disadvantaged backgrounds are the most exposed, and where the people who speak up are the ones who tend to disappear. Whether her specific claims hold up legally is separate from whether the broader pattern she describes deserves scrutiny. Multiple industry insiders pointing to the same environment is not nothing. Anyway, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith have occupied a fascinating and complicated space in public perception for years. Their open relationship, their Hollywood power, and their proximity to virtually every major figure in entertainment have been discussed extensively. What is now being examined more carefully is the question of whose orbit they moved through and what that orbit meant for the people around them.
Is a part of my DNA, you know, part of it from difficult aspects of my childhood. You know, I grew up with violence in my home, you know, so I developed, you know, a really acute emotional sense, you know, out of defense. You know, I just needed to make sure that my father was okay. I needed to make sure things were going well. And I just became really hypersensitive to emotional movement in a room as a defense mechanism. And then as I, you know, grew and as I started to develop that, you know, that heightened sense that started out as defense.
Jada Pinkett Smith's relationship with Diddy is documented. They have appeared together publicly, their social worlds clearly overlapped, and Cassie's lawsuit, which was filed in November 2023, opened a window into what Diddy's private social environments actually looked like. When Wright and others allege that Will and Jada were present at or connected to some of those environments, the proximity becomes harder to ignore, even if the legal culpability remains entirely unproven.
To backtrack a little, man, because you made a comment about it earlier about how, you know, Jada, she told a story about how Tupac asked to marry her while he was in prison. And, you know, that went viral. But how did you feel about that, you know, when she told that story? Did you think that was appropriate or no?
The first thing that came to my mind when I heard Jada say Tupac proposed to me, the first thing that came into my mind, and of course, Tupac is my favorite rapper of all time. When she said that, the first thing that came into my mind was, why now? I mean, Tupac has been dead for about 27 years, you know, so if this proposal did take place, and I'm not trying to doubt my sister at all, but if the proposal did take place, you're talking 30 or more years or so ago. Why is that coming up now? You know, to me, the only reason why I could think that she would bring that up is it's possible that Will might harbor some insecurities over her relationship with Tupac, and she probably felt that that is one of the few things she could bring up to actually get under Will's skin. You know, because when you look at achievements, you know, Tupac will be probably one of the only rappers who could rival Will in terms of overall success. Now, of course, Will doesn't have the hip hop success, you know, of many rappers, but when you add in his acting and what he has done on the big screen, there's not many people who can compete with his body of work. Tupac would be one of them because he was also an actor. And had he not been taken from us, who knows how many box office hits Tupac would have had. So Tupac and Will Smith are both rapper actors. So I could see, you know, when we look at what Jada has shared about her closeness with Tupac, and of course, most of us probably assume that there was a little bit more to that relationship than what we have been led to believe. Will probably feels the same thing. And I think it was a matter, once again, of her trying to antagonize him and get under her skin because she wants out the marriage, but she wants half of the stash on her way out the door.
But you personally, do you believe Jada when she say that her and Pac was just friends?
I believe that Will and Jada were best friends. I believe they were as close as she claims. I believe, Jada and Pac, I believe they were as close as she has said. I believe that they were good friends. I believe they may have even been in love with each other during his years in Baltimore. And I believe at a certain level, she may regret having never entertained a serious relationship with Tupac. And of course, we all know why she didn't, because at that time, he was going through a lot of drama on the streets, the East Coast, West Coast, the stuff Death Row was into. It was a very dangerous situation. And I know she saw that. And so she probably said, you know what? I don't know if he's ever going to get it together, but I can't put my life on the line, although I'm in love with this man. So she ended up with Will Smith. But I think that had Tupac survived, I don't know if her and Will's marriage would have survived, because I believe Jada is still in love with Tupac even now. And because he can only be a memory to her in spirit, you know, distance intensifies the emotion we feel for someone. You know, when that marriage is over and your ex-wife moves away, your daughter's mother moves away, your son's mother moves away, you know, distance intensifies the feelings we have for someone, because the further away they are, the more of the positive we remember. You see, when they're close, you look at the positive and the negative. When they're gone, you only remember the positive. So I believe that Jada is in love with Will Smith and Tupac Shakur. The difference being, Will is here in the flesh and Tupac is only with us in soul.
Bryshere Gray is a specific name that keeps surfacing in these conversations. A young man from Philadelphia, connected to Will Smith through geography and shared experience, who entered the industry at a time when Diddy's world was at its most powerful and its most dangerous. Whether anyone in the Smith family circle actively facilitated any harm to Bryshere is a claim that has not been proven. What can be said is that the social geography here is dense. The connections are real, even if their meaning remains contested. And for a kid like Bryshere, entering those rooms without someone truly in his corner was always going to carry consequences. After Empire wrapped in 2020, Bryshere Gray's life became a public record of unraveling. In July 2020, his then-wife Candace Jimdar ran into the street asking for help from strangers, leading to Bryshere's arrest on charges of felony aggravated assault and misdemeanor offenses. He spent 10 days in jail and was placed on 3 years of probation. He himself has said that Empire was the beginning of his downfall rather than his breakthrough, which is a remarkable thing for someone to say about the role that made them famous.
On the sentence for one of the stars of the hit show Empire, who was arrested last summer in the Valley. Bryshere Gray pleaded guilty to assault in late March and was sentenced to 10 days in jail. 3 years probation and was ordered to enter a treatment program. All of this stems from a chaotic chain of events in and around his Goodyear home last July.
Visible injuries on her face. No, he can't even deny it. There are visible injuries on her face. There's notable injuries. So what caused did she fall down the stairs?
Maybe.
You understand?
No. Is it that the characters these people play actually because art imitates life. Yeah, in Empire is always that gangster boy that he can even punch his daddy or shoot his dad. And look at what he's doing in real life. Everybody has been looking for a picture of his wife because some people did not even know.
I didn't know. It's not something. Don't go far. We didn't know he was married, bro.
A picture is not anywhere. He doesn't even post that picture up on his social media pages, and people are wondering like, you even got married now. You got married and you're beating your wife allegedly.
50.0.
Yeah.
I mean, he got into Empire at a young age. I'm trying to remember if it was like 21 or something.
Yeah.
But it's just
talented rapper.
So yeah, exactly, and he does
very
as well.
Talented rapper, very talented actor.
Yeah, so to see this happening so early in his career.
Talented domestic violence. Alleged.
I'm not around.
You're not around, but honestly speaking, if this is true, then shame on him.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, if it's true, because at the end of the day, you cannot carry your celebrity status and be mistreating your wife for SWAT to come and pick you.
He didn't want to come out.
Are you joking?
That's when they now involved other people like,
wow.
Like this is a stubborn person. We have to take this to the next level. Okay, let me go.
The arrest did not stop there. Further incidents followed in 2022, and by 2024, he faced additional charges in Florida. His social media activity during this period raised eyebrows, with content that many observers felt reflected someone who had not received the kind of support or care that someone in genuine distress would need. Bryshere Gray does not look like a man who was looked after. Rather, he looks like a man who was used and then left to manage the wreckage alone. Jaguar Wright has stated that the trauma of what she alleges Bryshere experienced in those industry circles is the root explanation for the chaos that followed. Again, that is an unverified claim, but it is a claim that several people have made independently. And when you sit with Bryshere's own words, with his statement that Empire broke him rather than built him, the question of what exactly happened inside that world during those years becomes impossible to ignore. Diddy was convicted in July 2025 on 2 counts related to transporting people across state lines for illegal purposes, and sentenced in October 2025 to 4 years and 2 months in federal prison. That outcome was, for many people, bittersweet. The more serious charges, the ones that could have resulted in a life sentence, did not stick with the jury, but the conviction itself confirmed something. The parties, the alleged coercion, the entire operation that survivors had been describing for years was real enough to put a man behind bars.
To me, I'm gonna get off the phone right now, and I am gonna let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. No matter what, no matter what nobody said. Let's just here and there, y'all are not working together the right way. We're losing.
The footage is part of a new, highly anticipated docuseries by director Alex Stapleton and rapper and executive producer Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, titled Sean Combs: The Reckoning. Was there anything that surprised you when you were watching?
I think it was surprising that he actually filmed it.
It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence. You know, he has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account and how he was coming off to the public.
The exclusive video also shows Combs in Harlem greeting fans.
Off my back, bro. Lord, you win. I'm gonna win. Lord, you win. We win it. I'll accept it. I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got it. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with, like that's what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? Oh. It's like 150 hugs.
You're a public person as well, and there was one instance in Harlem, and his reaction when those people
went away.
Got in
the car and said, I feel like I need to wash, like I'm dirt. It shows you his character.
Was that the reason for including it?
Yeah. I mean, what's the odds that you would do that in front of the camera? Like that's one of the moments where he forgot he was on tape.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right, for 20 years, right, is me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping, or I looked at it like it was like a tester, like maybe you'll come play with me, type of thing, right? And it's not personal.
I think it's important to also let people know that the show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. We weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details, you know, that the real goal was to storytell. And not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this project.
The 4-part series also features 2 jurors from Combs' trial who are speaking for the first time about how they reached their mixed verdict, finding Combs guilty of 2 offenses, but clear of racketeering and trafficking charges, both sharing their thoughts on the relationship between Combs and singer Cassie. Juror 75 describing them as 2 people in love, and Juror 160 saying in part, domestic violence wasn't one of the charges. Cassie, is she a victim in all this?
I believe Cassie's a victim in all this because she came in she's like 18, like 19 years old. In the very beginning, after a while, over time, you condition for it.
The goal of what the film is trying to do is to let the audience kind of come in to ask questions like, were their decisions colored by certain things, and who got the benefit of the doubt, you know, in that courtroom?
Do you think that hip-hop culture was on trial as much as Sean Combs was?
Look, if I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as the hip-hop is fine with his behaviors. There's no one else being vocal. So you would look at it and just say, because that mind your business, or let me not say nothing about nothing, or those things, it would allow the entire culture to register as if they're for that behavior.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time.
Katt Williams had been saying, in his own language and in his own way, that something exactly like this was coming. His Club Shay Shay interview was viewed by many as prophetic. After Diddy's arrest made global news just months later, he has spoken more broadly about a Hollywood system that exploits young people who have no framework for recognizing manipulation when it is dressed up as opportunity, and also about the you-know-what files, which he has implied contain information about industry figures whose names have not yet publicly surfaced in connection with these events. That detail is significant because Bryshere Gray is just one name in what is, according to multiple accounts, a much longer list. The conversation around who knew what, who enabled what, and who is still walking around with their reputation intact while others carry the damage is nowhere near finished. The industry machine protected itself for a long time, but machines eventually broke down. Bryshere Gray's story is painful to sit with because it started with so much promise. A kid from a difficult background, working a Pizza Hut job at 16, grinding his way into one of the most watched television shows in America. That is not a small thing. That kind of trajectory requires talent and relentless effort. And yet somewhere between the beginning and where he is now, something went catastrophically wrong. Katt Williams has spent years arguing that the entertainment industry does not just reward talent, it rewards compliance, and that the young people who come in without protection, without knowledge of the real rules, are the ones who pay the heaviest price. Whether every specific allegation around Bryshere's situation is accurate is something only the people involved truly know, but the pattern being described across multiple voices, across multiple years, points to something that goes far beyond one person's personal struggles. Diddy is behind bars. The you-know-what files are still being processed, and the question of who else was in those rooms, and what they knew, and what role they played, is very much an open one. Bryshere Gray deserves answers, and so does every other young person who walked into this industry, believing that the people at the top were there to help them rise. So let me ask you this: how many more names do you think we still do not know? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on any new videos. And until then, fam, keep it real.